PWF Empire is live. Thank you all for tuning in this Wednesday night on youtube.com/PWF Empire and PWFempire.com. I am Jay, and we have some very special guests joining us on the panel tonight. We have Manny and Justin of PWTR fame.
I thought I was just famous and glorious, mind you.
Finally,
not glorious.
The $1 Million Manny has come back to video.
Can you give us a laugh?
It has been a while.
It's been a long.
It has been a very long while.
What's going on, Jay? How you doing?
I'm doing amazingly well. How about you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I don't know how healthy wrestling is, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, we got a little bit of that to talk about because we were having a little conversation before the show, and Manny was talking about how he's kind of, fading away a little bit when it relates to wrestling, and me being the type of person that I am. Like, he said that to say, I don't really have anything to talk about. That is something to talk about. So we're going to talk about that tonight on the show, plus a lot of the goings-on in WWE. We're going to get things started off with the world title scene over on SmackDown. We have the WWE World Champion and AJ Styles. He'll be facing Dean Ambrose and John Cena at the upcoming No Mercy pay-per-view, the SmackDown exclusive show. But before we get there, he does have a pit stop, I'm hoping it's the very brief pit stop versus Dean Ambrose next week on the show. Why are you all shocked, Justin?
Just because you're a hater, and I've accepted that. A couple haters here.
I hear that you hating on Dean Ambrose, man. What's going on with
Why is he so mean to poor Dean? I don't get him.
What did Dean do to him?
I'm telling you, there's something deeper with you.
No, it's not.
I'm going to examine you.
Unlike you, I say what I mean the first time, so there doesn't have to be a third, fourth, fifth explanation.
Okay.
You know how you do, Justin. Justin is the type of person. Justin is the type of person, he'll say, "Oh, fuck Dolph Ziggler. I hope Dolph Ziggler retires." And then 2 hours later, after you wade through 45 layers of bullshit, then it's like, okay, well, what you're really saying is you think Dolph Ziggler is a little reckless in the ring, and you fear for his safety because his bumps are crazy. Like, that's the type of person that Justin is. But unlike you, I say what I mean the first time. So when I say what I say about Dean Ambrose, like Nene Leakes said from Real Housewives of Atlanta, I said what I said. And there it is.
Oh, okay.
No, that's an old clip from years ago.
I've just learned since the CM Punk days that there's something deeper. When you really don't like something, it's not just what's on face value. There's something deeper there. And I'm a doctor, and I'm gonna examine you, if you don't mind. All right, Jay, tell us, what is the real root of your issue with Dean Ambrose? Because it's not what you're saying. I don't believe it.
I'll tell you exactly. Okay, you want to know the big secret?
Let's hear it.
Here's the big secret I'm going to reveal to everyone. I have standards for wrestlers in WWE.
Just stop at standards.
If you say you are something, be that. If you are not effective in your gimmick, I have a problem with that. If you give me hope that you're going to turn the corner, as Dean Ambrose did at Backlash last week on SmackDown, I want to see a change. I want to be hopeful that things are going to be different. But then when those hopes are dashed, I have a problem. I have a problem with your effectiveness. I see a little bit of hope that things are going to change, and they don't. There it is. That's a big secret.
Can I go off on that, though, a second? Has Dean Ambrose always said he doesn't get why he's called a lunatic?
How does that stop him from being called a lunatic,
the gimmick, though? That's within the gimmick.
Yeah, but I'm not a lunatic. I don't get where he's coming from. He even said that on Stone Cold Podcast. He doesn't get the lunatic thing. So it's not really him.
See, and I don't think that he's been perpetuating himself necessarily as a lunatic. And I had that same problem with him when he was like the lunatic fringe, and his whole thing was, "Oh, I'm crazy. He's liable to do anything." And that was mostly pushed by JBL saying dumb shit on commentary.
Yeah, it was Michael Cole. Don't push that on JBL.
No, JBL was saying that shit too.
It was probably both. Doesn't matter.
Oh, Byron Saxton, and throw him in the mix too. Just fuck him.
Burn in hell, Byron Saxton.
In these recent months, he's been more about being that guy that leads the SmackDown brand and talking about how this is his home and I'm not going anywhere. He's been more along those lines. And I personally enjoyed that, seeing him trying to be that guy that leads the brand into success and talking about how he's never going to give up that title and it's not going to happen, even though, it's wrestling. He's going to lose the title eventually. So I thought it's been good.
But you don't look at that as a walking contradiction, though?
You talk about the lunatic thing?
Yeah. Because how can he be Mr. Reliability and Mr. Lunatic at the same time?
I feel like they've eased back on that lunatic thing. Like I said, I had a problem with that too. I don't think that they've necessarily pushed that narrative in their storytelling or on commentary necessarily. Like, what's the most lunatic thing he does? He does an elbow drop to a standing opponent. Oh, God.
They were pushing it at Backlash.
What were they saying? I don't remember.
Dean Ambrose is so unpredictable. AJ Styles, he can't prepare for Dean Ambrose.
Well, I mean, Dean Ambrose has a weird style in the ring. He's not necessarily orthodox, so I think that they were
he's orthodox as hell.
How?
Dean Ambrose is one of the most orthodox guys in WWE. If you want to call a spade a spade, Dean Ambrose is one of the most plain and standard guys in the ring in WWE. And if you don't believe you could call me a hater. Yes, as far as his in-ring work goes, look at Dean Ambrose in the ring, his moveset, what he does. It's simple. It's plain.
Okay, but can we say the same thing? I'm not trying to compare him to Stone Cold Steve Austin, but can we say the same for Stone Cold Steve Austin? Like, he was very simple in his approach, but it was about the storytelling aspect, like with Dean Ambrose.
You can see Stone Cold's character through what he did in the ring.
Okay. I can see Dean Ambrose's character, like there's his movements. It's not so much the moves he's doing; it's what he's doing in between them, so to speak. Like how he.
Oh, so when he goes like that, that's what you're talking about.
He does the wavy gravy, but no,
he does that suicide.
When he sticks his tongue out and shakes his hair, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, and like during the Brock Lesnar match when he did this.
I was being sarcastic, and you said yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, he's being a character. He's not so much just like, I'm going to hit a move. Like, if you examine all three members of the Shield, he's the one who's most character-oriented of all of them. Because, like, Roman Reigns and Seth are both like, let's hit a move, because that's what we're supposed to do. Dean's like, I'm going to do this and this to add to it. And, like I see there's what he's doing, and I like what he's doing. It doesn't bother me.
Look, can we talk about the real star of this motherfucker, AJ Styles?
I was exactly about to say that. Like, I don't know why we're spending all of this time on the weak link out of everything that's going on. But before we get AJ Styles,
if there was a weak link, it's definitely Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, because even John Cena, even John's Chowbot.
I'm joking.
Even John Cena has a story that's building up, because if you look at what happened on SmackDown. In Dean Ambrose beating John Cena, it wasn't necessarily a story of Dean Ambrose. It was planting the seeds for them to tell the story of John Cena possibly starting to lose it.
It was planting the seeds of what Ambrose was talking about, too, though. You got to give Ambrose credit for that.
Yep.
The promo that he cut the week before
I'll give the person who wrote it credit.
The way
he delivered it good, too!
Oh, no. That was me hating. That was
okay.
So,
couple haters.
I'll give him credit, because the problem that I had was when I heard it the first time, I was like, this shit doesn't even make sense, because when it comes to John Cena getting beat by AJ Styles was the better man. It wasn't anything about John Cena starting to fall off. And I wondered when Dean Ambrose said that, because it wasn't true before, are they going to start to tell that story moving forward? And it looked like that was the beginning of it on SmackDown with John Cena being beat. I think there was some stat rolling around out there. The streets are saying that that's the first time that John Cena has lost cleanly in a match on WWE TV since 2009.
That was amazing.
That can't be true.
So,
I don't know.
We look for ways for John Cena to lose clean on pay-per-view. Why can't it be true about free TV?
I mean, it is John Cena, but... But I think the overarching topic and what we all should agree on here is that next week Dean Ambrose should walk in and be champion and go to Backlash. And okay, fine. That's not what we're done.
We're done with Dean Ambrose.
We are okay, fine. But it's now look at it because we're talking about next week more than we are talking about No Mercy, and I think that's going to add layer to it because the big question is what's Cena going to do in this situation? Because you know a title's not changing hand on SmackDown right before a pay-per-view. That'd be stupid. So it'd be like, oh, is Cena going to come out and do some heel shit? Is he going to be like, oh, I'm still mad at AJ? It's like, I'm more interested in what Cena's going to do in that situation more than I am that match, because I know it's probably going to be fine for how long it's going to be, but yeah, it's always going to be like, man, Cena's waiting in the wings. I know if he doesn't show up, I'll be like, whoa.
I don't fuck what Cena does. He don't want none. They don't want none.
Cena's going to walk out champion, and I'm going to be proud of that boy. It's 16 times.
See, like
16 times.
Oh my God, Jay, you were not in it. We had this whole debate on whether or not AJ Styles winning the championship was a good thing or a bad thing, because Justin
he was there.
of the thought that like, oh, it doesn't matter because John Cena's just going to take the belt when they have the triple threat match. And it's like, why can't I enjoy AJ Styles' reign right now? Why can't I be happy for him having won? Like, what is John Cena's reign?
That's why I don't put any stock into that argument from Justin, because it doesn't make any sense. It's like whatever we get from AJ Styles right now, just the joy out of seeing not only AJ Styles with the championship, but the person that beat John Cena, the person that had upward mobility and moved through John Cena up to the main event scene in WWE and won the championship. Like, none of that matters just because a month, 2, 3, however long down the line, John Cena is going to win the championship. That makes no sense to me.
But at the same coin, would you be upset if I was happy Cena to win or Ambrose were to win? You'd probably like, oh, Justin, you're stupid. If like, oh man, I'm happy Dean Ambrose won. Because it's like, I see that. Because like, I'd have people call me a dumbass. I think it needs to be a little bit fairer ground here.
It doesn't change the fact that I'm happy as fuck that AJ Styles is champion.
And I'm happy for you. I'm not taking it away from you. I'm not booking wrestling. But I'm saying from my perspective,
thank the
you
Lord.
need to be aware. I have some really good ideas, Jay. So, whatever.
You should let us hear one for a change.
Layered and layered by
really we'll hear. I think we'll hear it throughout the course of the show. My great ideas. Okay. And once again, I will say this, because I think we're going to get to this later. SmackDown's probably championship feud, best thing booked so far of like championship-wise of any of them. So, hey.
Okay, what do we have up next? Let me go ahead and see. Okay, we're going to move on to buy or sell.
Wait, what happened
at this moment?
Okay.
Get your wallet out, Manny.
Did you see the updated?
My bad. Go ahead.
So, we're going to move right on to our first topic for buy or sell. We are going to discuss the hype for Clash of Champions. We have Roman Reigns versus Rusev for the United States Championship. A triple threat match featuring Bayley, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks. We have whatever the fuck is going on in the tag team division, I don't know. We have a Cruiserweight Championship match, TJ Perkins versus Brian Kendrick. And the big match that we have is for the Universal Championship. We have Seth Rollins versus the champion, Kevin Owens. Based off of what we've been seeing these last few weeks on Monday Night Raw, do you all buy or sell the hype for, or are you hyped for Night of Champions? Or
are we allowed to buy in? Are we allowed to buy in pieces, or we have to buy the whole thing? Because there's things I would like to see, but I don't want the whole package.
No, you got to buy in bulk. This is Sam's Club.
Well, then sell that shit.
Okay, let's focus on the main event right now.
Oh, sell.
Wow.
And it's not because I think the match is going to be John Cena versus AJ Styles at Money in the Bank, where it's like, this is really good. Then the finish happens and just devalues everything that comes before it. Because my big problem going into this match is probably going to be great technical-wise, but story-wise, it's terrible. It's convoluted. It's got all these missing parts. And plus, the big thing I hate the most is Seth Rollins is a dumbass. Because he's like, I'm going to prove to you, Stephanie, that I'm the right guy and you chose wrong. But I'm like, he doesn't care that Triple H is probably going to do the same fucking thing he did to you a couple weeks ago. Well, Triple H won't dare do that again. Why do you just go? What grounds do you have to walk on that set? So it's like, okay, Triple H is going to come out and do the same thing. It's like, well, your fault because you didn't prepare properly. And you have all these, so that finish is going to ruin something that could potentially be great, so I'm like, sell it. I don't care, because I know it's not going to be the ending I want out of that match.
Your arguments confuse me sometimes.
Why? How so? Explain, Manny.
It just seemed to be all over the place. But I'm going to mostly buy this. I'm actually interested in the story that they're telling. I like the mystery of Triple H being in the background, pulling strings, not knowing who his allegiance is to, and all of that stuff. And Kevin Owens is one of my favorite wrestlers right now. Seth Rollins is one of my favorite wrestlers in the ring, and I'm interested in the dynamic of him being pissed off, him being the guy that was pushed aside for this golden boy and Kevin, not golden boy, but whatever, the chosen one, in Kevin Owens, and how those two are going to clash together. So yeah, I'm mostly buying it.
I'm going to sell it because I don't have any investment in Seth Rollins right now, not really in Kevin Owens or anything that's really going on over on Monday Night Raw. My same thought for Clash of Champions, it mirrors my thought for the status of Monday Night Raw as a whole. There's nothing really compelling that's going on that's grabbing my attention and holding on to it. I just see things passing by, and yeah, this whole thing that's going on with Triple H, we should have seen something by now, and I don't know exactly what it is. Like, should Triple H have been on Monday Night Raw at this point? Just some type of follow-up to that where we can keep the heat going, because I feel as if the heat that was generated from Kevin Owens winning the championship and the way that he did, it's been it's like dissipated at this point, and they're running on fumes, just trying to get to the next moment that they're building to, and that's unfortunately just how Monday Night Raw does things these days.
Maybe not so much that he has to be on Raw, but the fact that someone needs to acknowledge the fact that what happened, and it's not just because, I'm trying to win favor. It's like, so if I'm going for a championship match, and I know Triple H did what he did, what's going to stop him from doing it this time? And he's supposed to be the smart architect type guy, and that bothers me. So I need some address. Triple H doesn't. I get what they're doing by not having him be there because you have to be a big swerve on Sunday. So it's like, but at the same time, mention and use it more instead of just saying Triple H betrayed me. Okay, what are you going to do about it? Well, I'm going to fight Kevin Owens.
Roman Reigns mentioned it, and he just blew it off. He said, I'll never see your husband again. And I'm like, what makes you think that? What the hell? What does that even mean?
Well,
like, he just disappeared into the wind. He's on the run from the cops now.
He's running from Roman Reigns, apparently. But I look at it, and Roman Reigns, I'm like, okay, we're getting something there. Then Reigns just drops it. I'm like, you just dropped it because you don't have an answer to it yet. Because that's a big problem.
If Triple H did show up, do you think that Seth Rollins would be more interested in getting at him or winning the match?
Probably
getting at Triple H, and that's the big problem there. He cares more about Triple H than he does the title.
Because I was going to say about the title. So, that's, yeah. But it'd be cool to see Triple H on Sunday, I suppose. I mean, hey.
Well, yeah, there you go. That's something.
It's sad because, like,
my favorite wrestler.
When he turned on Seth Rollins, it was like one of the most surprising things ever, and he pulled it off brilliantly. To see that momentum kind of squandered, as far as he is concerned, I still think that the heat between Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins on screen is pretty good, but to see the Triple H component of it not come into play and just kind of fizzle out is a little disappointing. It is disappointing.
Yeah.
Speaking of Seth Rollins, he had an interesting moment to close out Monday Night Raw where he came to the rescue of his former Shield brother, Roman Reigns. And of course, this sends everyone into overdrive, probably premature thoughts of a Shield reunion. Maybe it doesn't necessarily have to go that far, but you do have two faces in Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, which opens up the possibility of them teaming somewhere in the near future. Do you buy or sell a temporary partnership?
Sell. I can't get rid of that shit fast enough. Jay, listen, man. Like, Roman Reigns was the first person that Seth Rollins turned on. He was the one that got hit in the back before even Dean Ambrose. Now, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose had their feud, but to me, I know that Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins have had some matches, but I'm still waiting for the payoff from that turn. It was so monumental that I feel disappointed in what they didn't do with it. There's no, like, personal grudge between the two. There's just, like, this background of animosity. So to have them now in a situation where it's like kind of what Triple H and Shawn Michaels went through when it was Vince McMahon, coming together to fight common enemies and that type of thing. We're like separate, but they're gonna put us together. They're gonna doing the same stuff to us. So let's go ahead and come together and take down the bad guys. No. I need a resolution to 2014. Goddammit. I'm still waiting on that.
I mean, we were supposed to have got that. Wasn't that what the, or at least what they wanted us to believe that triple threat match was about? But
Still a good
I
match.
mean, I knew it was bullshit, but it's
bullshit.
All right, and here's the deal. Like, I would kind of buy this if it's just Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, but if we get Dean Ambrose somehow involved, let's just make it rain up in this bitch. Because, I'm sorry, 2004, you might want some closure for 2014. I still want that, man. I'm still a fanboy of the Shield. I want them intact. I don't care about their singles.
So instead of closure, you just want them to, like, bust it wide open.
Yeah, you just want to mark out. You know, fuck good storytelling. Fuck, you know
what? At this point, I'm that big of a fan of the Shield. I fuck storytelling. That's the one time I will ever say this. And you know what?
Wow.
Instead of just, like, having closure, just go on Maury, hug it out, have a beer, have a toke, just go out and be the Shield again. Be what we loved you for, because this singles run, all three of them have been kind of failures at this point. I mean, they've been successful, but at the same time, we're not, like, hyped at the prospect of them main eventing as we were, like, 2004, like, oh, when they break up, this is going to be something great, but then it's like, oh, this is what we got. Oh, Seth's doing that. Oh, Roman's, ooh, Dean, It's like, just put them back together, and maybe try again later. Try this product later.
No.
Because I want to see that. Don't you want to see them together again doing the Believe in the Shield?
I don't want to see them ever together again until they resolve.
You have no wrestling.
Like they have to go through some shit together. They have to beat the fuck out of each other.
According to WWE, that happened already.
They didn't do shit.
They had closure.
On paper,
Roman Reigns won the belt
closure.
after Seth Rollins got hurt. Seth Rollins was gone. He came back. He had a little tip for Roman Reigns, but that was about Seth Rollins trying to get his belt back. It was not about, Roman Reigns, did he make any mention to what happened in 2014 during that whole feud?
Because you're suspended,
Shit,
Manny.
he couldn't. He was suspended.
Yeah, he got suspended. Oh, my God. So now it's just like, oh, yeah, fuck everything that happened. We're going to have Seth Rollins come out and save Roman Reigns. I know you play it off like, he wanted to get that KO. No, fuck that. No.
Yeah. But on paper, we have reached a point of closure. And as much as I don't want to look at that as the ending, the cap on the huge storyline that existed for years in WWE with the Shield, it is what it is. That is in the history. That was their closure, that match.
So
but
they're just going to be best buddies?
Just because they got closure, that does not mean that I want to see them back being buddy cool. I would buy a temporary partnership between them in one case and one case only, if they still hated each other. Like, they still have to fucking hate each other's guts. It can't be this thing where it's like, man, you know what, we gotta come together and do this. If they end up in a forced partnership based off of the authority figures and things like that, just to have a match with them and Rusev and Kevin Owens, I'll get it. But they still have to fucking hate each other. Like, that animosity still has to be there.
I could buy that too, but it has to be something different. Something has to happen between the two during that partnership. That's something different than just having little tiffs and not tagging each other in and all the shit that we've seen before. We've seen forced partnerships like that.
Fight. Do something.
Break out in a fight in the middle of a match. And just like get separated by security or some shit like that. Have this large all-out brawl. Yeah, I'd buy that. Sure.
I have a solution.
Because I hate when we get those situations in WWE where it's like, okay, well, we're two good guys, so we have to like each other, or we're two bad guys and we have to like each other. Shit, be assholes. Like, acknowledge the fact that you still hate each other's guts. Like, he still betrayed you. His alignment shouldn't override that, because Seth Rollins is still a despicable human being. So,
all right, at the same time, idea. What if Seth Rollins came out on Raw after Triple H screws him and Reigns again? He's like, he looks at Reigns and he's just like, it wasn't worth it. I'm sorry. And I think we should try to do this.
No.
Come on.
That's some weak, punk-ass...
No, and then at the same time, but here's the thing. Reigns doesn't trust him at first.
A whole year and a half of screwing him over.
I know.
Like, I got my checks already. I got my titles. That's all in the history books.
But at the same time,
I'm sorry now.
We could do this whole Eddie and Batista angle where Reigns doesn't trust Rollins because obviously then it works up and then Rollins does something really cool, sacrificing himself. So I don't know, does something. It's like, oh, we're the Shield again. Believe that. And we're like, yay! And I'm like, yeah.
No, Justin.
Come on, let's get the Shield back together.
That is some straight PG shit.
He's just grasping for straws over there. Anything to get them back together.
I mean, can you blame me? I mean, they're the greatest faction like ever. Well, one of them.
Wow.
One of them.
We're not even going down that rabbit hole right now.
Four
Save that
horsemen.
for a later date. Next up, we have a buy or sell on The Miz. So he's been the talk of the town lately. A lot of people were liking what The Miz is doing on the mic. In the ring, he had a great outing at SmackDown's recent show Backlash. Will you go as far, though, to say that The Miz is doing the best work of his career currently? So that's the buy or sell. You buy or sell The Miz doing the best work of his career now?
I will. I'll hit this real quick. Actually, when we've discussed The Miz in the past weeks, I was wondering, is this really the best? Because I went back and looked at his career, a lot. I watched certain matches from his championship reign, his post championship reign, everything. And I just really thought about it. I'm like, this really is The Miz's best he's ever been. Because I looked back at that world title reign and it was kind of pathetic. And ever since, like, Jerry Lawler had a hard time beating. Randy Orton that feud was trash because Orton was boring as hell at the time. And then Cena, wasn't about him. So it's like, I look at this and I see Miz coming into his own. He's actually adding stuff, and he's actually doing something really special. We're kind of like questioning Daniel Bryan. Like, he's getting us to that point where, like, Daniel Bryan's motive seems really bullshit. And if you get me questioning Daniel Bryan, who is the most likable guy in the world,
that's
something
point.
special.
Yeah.
Well, that's something really special. So you know what? I'll buy it. Miz, you're doing it, man. I don't know what got into you and who let the chains off or something like that, but keep going. I guess Maurice is just helping you out. I don't know.
Man,
you
fuck
guys are
that.
great.
He broke the chains off of his motherfucking self. He said, I'm going rogue. I'm doing the fuck I want to do. That's what Talking Smack was all about. And that was the jumping off point for what is, yes, I'm buying it, the greatest run of his career. And the only other thing that you really could compare it to is his run as champion, which was, I mean, outside of one little moment where he came out dressed as The Rock and I was confused, and then it was like, oh, yeah,
That was good.
That was kind of cool.
That was good.
Aside from that, it was like nothing really memorable about his championship reign. He ended up losing the belt to John Cena in an I Quit match, which made him look like a bitch.
No, he lost
And
in
that
a
was,
steel cage.
It was his cage? I thought he lost.
Yeah, with John Morrison in a triple threat. But he had a feud with Cena for the belt. It was a thing. It was a feud for a minute. But yeah, Extreme Rules 2011. I know my history.
Anyway, right now, and I've been saying for a few months, like, nobody's willing to listen to me. The Miz is the best heel in this company right now. Like, you can throw out somebody like Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins I don't hate those guys. The Miz is the best person in the company at getting me to hate him, getting me to like seeing him get beat up, actually going up against his opponents and then weaseling out of it at the last minute in creative ways, like having Maurice drop the pepper spray and then him picking it up while he's getting his ass beat. You're thinking he's going to roll in with the title, but no, he got that pepper spray in his head. It was great. And he, like Justin said, I think he's coming into his own. This is actually about him, and he's raising real valid points. I mean, obviously, the jumping off point with the Talking Smack promo, he was raising real points about the way that he's treated, the way that he's viewed in the company as a coward and everything like that. I wouldn't say that he's a coward. I'd say he's dastardly. He's growing to be dastardly, and it's brilliant.
No, he was a coward. I think that he's not now, because it's so wonderful that The Miz used that moment with Daniel Bryan to get attention on himself and to enrich his character and also enrich what he does in the ring. Because I don't remember The Miz being this commanding of a superstar in the ring. And when you look at the character, the attitude that he has, just the nastiness of The Miz, he's coming off like an asshole, and you take into account the Hollywood gimmick. The Maurice, she was a perfect addition to this act of The Miz, because you have this guy who's walking around thinking he's some kind of Hollywood superstar. You have the trophy wife there in Maurice, and then, like I said, The Miz
who should never ever have a microphone in her hand ever.
Ooh.
That's still my homegirl from back in the day. Like, shit, the Maurice can do whatever she wants to as long as she does a hair flip before it. You can do whatever the fuck you want to after that, because that hair flip has more charisma than some of the wrestlers on the roster. But yeah, you take into account how commanding The Miz is in the ring, Maurice, the overall act, and the effectiveness of The Miz and the character that he's playing. When you put all of those things together, me being a big Misfit from back in the day, see, we have our own names. You know, it's not just a Miz Mark, it's Misfit. Yeah, me being that back in the day, like, I know how much I was on the damn bandwagon. I can say now with certainty that this is the best run in the Miz's career, so I buy the entire hell out of it. However, there is one thing that he's missing. A legit babyface to go up against. Because that ain't Dolph Ziggler.
The overarching one is Daniel Bryan right now.
And that's the crazy part about it. Like, I know that he can't, but it's like, damn it, he needs somebody. He needs something to take that.
Or is it just like WWE was being preventative and being cautious?
Yes, and that's pretty much the same thing as far as they're concerned. Because physically, Daniel Bryan can get into the ring and wrestle. It's just that WWE looks at him like a liability and it's like, we don't want some BS happening on our hands. If there was a company around, I won't even say around the world, shit, there are companies in the United States that they would bend over backwards the day that Daniel Bryan left WWE to sign him, to get him to wrestle in the ring. So, yeah, he physically can. He's not like an invalid or anything like that, but there's a risk involved. Go back and watch that retirement promo that he
When Miz told him, why don't you go in the VFW halls and the bingo halls and do what you love there? It was like, oh my God. That was the real emotion that Daniel Bryan had. Like, he made him cry.
Yeah. Hold on. I want to call somebody out in the chat. They're trying to use my words and twist them into throwing shade at Roman Reigns. That is not what I said. Do not go there. It's funny. And I mean, if I said it, it would have been a nice line, but I am actually a fan of Roman Reigns, okay?
Plus,
so
we have to admit, his hair flip's pretty good, too. Reigns' hair flip's pretty nice, too. I mean, I'm into it.
He kind of bugs me with that sometimes, but that's another
He's like, come on! Roman Reigns is cool. Leave him alone.
But, yeah, I would love it if, somebody like a Sami Zayn moved over to SmackDown and he could feud with The Miz.
Sami Zayn should have been on SmackDown from jump. I don't know why the fuck he's over there on Raw.
Guys, what have they done with him since he's been there? Like, not been on pay-per-view.
Nothing.
He's with Jericho right now because,
Jericho.
He better not tap out to Jericho, or he's going to get it.
Getting that Apollo Crews. Oh my God, Jericho's so great.
I know, Jericho, talk about resurgence, best of his career. I'm thinking this might be it.
Okay, what do we have up
Jay's furiously responding to commenters.
Oh yeah, I was about to. I forgot I was doing a fucking show. I was about to go off on something in the chat.
Did I post something in the comments? Is that where you're going off?
No, it wasn't you. It was somebody trolling me. I should know better at this point.
Hey, provoke the trolls. We will grow faster.
Do you all have the set list for the show? I can't.
Yeah, I got it right now.
Okay, what's next?
Cruiserweight division debut.
Okay, boom. There we go. So,
how do you feel?
After all of this hype and build-up, we saw the debut of the Cruiserweight division on Monday Night Raw. It was the Fatal 4-Way #1 Contenders match for the #1 contendership to the Cruiserweight Championship. And Brian Kendrick...
We have a Cruiserweight champion? Really?
Apparently, yeah. WWE, they didn't care to introduce him to us, or introduce him to the people who didn't watch the Cruiserweight Classic. Those unfortunate souls, you definitely missed out. But the fact is, not everyone has access to the WWE Network. Not everyone can watch the Cruiserweight Classic. And even for the people who did have access to it, there's no guarantee that every single one of those people watched. So there was a little bit of a gap there in WWE not introducing the Cruiserweight Champion. I guess that can play into the effectiveness of the debut of this division. So I'll throw it off to you all. Do you buy or sell the debut of the Cruiserweight division on Monday Night Raw?
I am selling.
Oh, I want to do it at the same time with you. That's fine.
Because I am scared that they're gonna fuck it up. And the match itself was decent, but it made me realize how whack as shit that crowd was for not popping at some of the amazing shit that they were doing, and B, made me concerned that the Cruiserweights weren't going to be treated with the respect that they deserve, and they weren't going to get the type of billing that they need. Because you look at a guy like Cedric Alexander, I don't want them to look at him as just a Cruiserweight and relegate him just to that division. Because he's a guy, if he puts on some weight or whatever, can be one of those top-tier superstars if he continues to grow and develop and everything. If you look at some of his ROH work, he was doing pretty good in growing in feuds with Moose and beating the shit out of him with a wrench. That was the last time I saw him before the Cruiserweight Classic. ROH just kind of went away.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell this as well. I don't think this was an effective debut. You take into account the fact that the Cruiserweight champion, he was in the arena, but he wasn't on the show. They didn't even introduce him to the damn audience.
They didn't even have a video package for him, did they?
Not even a video package. Not even a video package. And then also, I'm
going against the Cruiserweight champion.
I'm not gonna say I disliked the match. It's just that it did not ring true to what I had known or what I had come to expect from the Cruiserweight Classic. And maybe this is easier said than done, but I just try to recreate the Cruiserweight Classic on Monday Night Raw. That's all you have to do. And like I said, maybe that's easier. Why not?
Because
you have to take into account the Mauro Ranallo and Danny Bryan. They aren't there,
that's part of it. And then the smaller arena that they had, it was a little more of an intimate atmosphere. And I really think that the lighting on Raw doesn't lend itself to some of the stuff that they do in the Cruiserweight Classic. Like I don't like the color scheme that they have. Everything is too bright. I wish that they would darken the audience as opposed to like keeping them lit up the whole time that they're in there. So.
Well, I'm speaking from a sense of the storytelling in the matches, like enriching the characters and telling stories as you go. That was something that came very easily to what was going on in the Cruiserweight Classic, and I'm wondering, what's the disconnect based off of what we saw there versus Monday Night Raw? And Chip, I guess we just talked about a bit of it. You don't have great storytellers at the commentary table to do that. So, yeah, I at this point, I guess it's not. I said it may be easier said than done. It is. Like it's not going to happen. So
the Cruiserweights really seem like a division that should be on SmackDown. Like if it was on SmackDown, I'd be a lot more excited.
Wouldn't it be something if I bought this though? But I'm not going to. I sell this, and it's mostly for what you guys are saying. But also, I really don't. Raw. We're probably going to get to this later when we talk about the structure of wrestling today. But 3 hours, and plus you have more meaningless matches at the end of the day. That's just an excuse for them to be lazy, and I'm sick of their laziness. We're going to get to this later, and I just see the Cruiserweight Classic as another way just to fill time, just so we don't have to do any like work, so to speak. So, and plus, WWE has a real roster problem too, where you have people who aren't really, all that charismatic, but yet they get a spot. Jack Swagger, and I feel like some people in the Cruiserweight.
Fuck, Jack Swagger is on Raw.
He's on SmackDown.
On SmackDown.
He's on SmackDown.
God damn it.
Yeah, I don't know. And he's radical now, dude.
He's on TV.
He's Poochie from The Simpsons now. Anyway, I just think they need to trim more fat, and they need to have less charismatic people. And if they're going to look at you and you can do flips and stuff, but you're not charismatic, they're going to throw you in that division. Like, there's no need for you to be there, so to speak. Like, there's some good, like Rich Swann, Cedric Alexander, they're good. Brian Kendrick's amazing. But there was people like Ho-Ho Loon and people like that who might be there. I'm like, get rid of them. I just don't want a division that's another pointless thing where we're just filling time just for the sake of it. And that's my stance with the Cruiserweight Classic. Like, it was a good presentation. Like, the right guy went over. Like, Brian Kendrick was the right person to go over, and TJ Perkins or whatever. But when it comes to the grand scheme of things, it's not going to work. And it's just time filler.
We were talking about before that wouldn't it be funny if the Cruiserweights came out and they was introducing them and everything, and then you hear, bro.
And also, Mick Foley, he kind of like fucked up in his introduction too. Yeah, that was bad.
Which is odd because he's been really good as a GM role. It's just weird to see him screw up like that.
I think he has. He's a good talker that I do like.
Mick Foley, when he's intense, he's great. So.
Yeah, and his soap opera moments, he's pretty good.
I trust Stephanie. He sounds kind of old now, too, if you really listen to him. But
that little girl, I looked in her eyes, and I saw the trust.
Well, that was
Are you
weird.
telling me?
That
was good. That was good. I like that. That was. I was about to give a standing ovation. Like, send the fucking Emmy.
It was a little too dramatic. But the whole
Emmy read.
I don't get another shot. If I lose this job, I go on the couch. That was great.
Or when he's like screaming at Seth Rollins, like, I told you not to.
Why you make Mick Foley sound like an old ass man though?
I will get you, Seth Rollins.
Back in my day.
Back in my day. I took chair shots to the head.
Alrighty, guys.
Shots.
We had a cage match to main event Monday Night Raw, and this is a topic that Manny wanted to discuss. I guess the mere fact that he wanted this as a buy or sell, it kind of, lets us know what direction he's going to go in. But, do you buy or sell cage matches?
We're on the same wavelength, so I think I should let him answer first so I don't steal any of his thunder. Manny?
Well, seeing as he's the one who wanted the topic, you probably should let him answer.
I am selling the shit out of cage matches. Like, I don't think that I've ever been a fan necessarily of cage matches just because of the inherent way that they operate. If it was a situation where it was like two men in the cage, they had to settle their differences, and the better man walks out of the cage, then sure. But it's like, incapacitate your opponent and try to walk out the cage, and the guy jumps up and grabs you. No, you can walk out the front door instead of actually climbing over the top of it. If it was all climbing over the top, I wouldn't have as much of a problem. But when the goal of when the inherent goal of it is to escape the cage, and you put that like on a Monday Night Raw where it's not a situation where you're going to be beating the piss out of each other and scratching and clawing your way out of the cage or anything like that. There's going to be some bullshit that they throw on where, like, one person goes over the top and the other escapes out of the fucking door like they did now. Like, that doesn't resolve anything. That doesn't settle anything. And it's like pointless filler. That's what it feels like to me. So I'm selling the shit out of all cage matches. Like, we don't need to ever have another cage match. Have Hell in a Cell if we're going to have cages, goddammit.
But what's the difference, in your opinion, between the two?
The difference is that the point of Hell in a Cell is to actually beat the shit out of each other and do everything to each other. When they have the cell, you have to win via pinfall. And that's a lot more appealing to me than you trying to escape hell or some shit like that. Like, they go out, they go on top of the cells and everything. It's a generally more exciting match. It's the way that they settle feuds, and I love that. But when they have generic-ass cage matches with the open top, and something like Mick Foley said, cage match, like it was going to stop anybody from getting in the cage. Like, they can't just climb over the top of their shit like Seth Rollins did. Like, I don't
and that's the thing that kills me, because the cage match is a contradiction, because they'll throw out that stipulation to say that we're going to stop interference, like we're going to prevent people from interfering in this match. But then at the very same time, they're telling you one of your paths to victory is climbing up the cage and jumping over it. You have this big ass opening at the top of the cage. So logically, if it's possible for you to climb out of the cage from the inside, isn't it possible for somebody to climb into the cage from the fucking outside? So how does that really make sense? It doesn't make any sense at all. And then you also take into account that climbing out of the cage to win, that's you
being a puss.
You're not beating the shit out of your opponent. You're pretty much walking away from them. So who's the faster person? Oh, Roman Reigns was faster in running away from Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens was running away from Roman Reigns. And that's the objective of a cage match. So, yeah, I never really made that connection until pretty recently. The fact that I don't really like a lot of cage matches in WWE, and I didn't realize, like I said, until recently, that the reason is because
I can only think of
cage
one.
Match.
And that's Bret Hart versus Owen Hart in like 93 or whenever the fuck they did it. And that was the blue cage. And that was, a lot more fun the way that they worked it. But just in general, I'm not a fan.
Basically, I'm echoing your thoughts, and I say sell, and it's mostly because I look at the climate of today, and I don't want to be that guy who's like, oh, we need blood to make wrestling great again, because I really don't want blood in wrestling. I don't. But at the same time, if you're going to throw someone into a cage and it just looks like you're hitting a fence, it'd be great if there was like some way to show that it's hurting you in some way and add impact to the match. And I think the only way is blood. You can't just go and fall down to the ground like that. You have to. I want something like that. And plus, you have stupid little things inside cage matches now. Like on Raw, Rusev came out and put a chain on the door. Like, yeah, no one's gonna stop us beating up Roman Reigns. Oh no, Seth Rollins jumps from the. It's one massive problem, and I've never found them really interesting. I've always been like, oh, a cage match. I guess we know how this is going to turn out and play out. And
the fact that they have a door on it, that's pretty fucking stupid too.
Yeah, and sometimes they chain the door, and it's like, why do you have the door there? You're just going to chain it. So it's like same with Hell in a Cell, but
look so fucking stupid there. Like, oh, you're about to come out. Let me open up the door for you. Let me make sure you have. Oh, he's great. Oh, let me just close it back up. Like, what the fuck are you even there for?
Yeah, he just wants to look good on camera. I don't know. It's just one big... Even in the 90s, 80s, or whatever, they've never been my favorite kind of match. Even with the blue bars, there are a couple good ones, but it's never because of the cage, I think. It's always because of the two people and the purpose of fighting. And the cage has never been the thing that's like, oh, I gotta see this because the cage is there. It's like, Hell in a Cell, I got that feeling.
Yeah,
Eliminated Chamber, I got that feeling.
Yes, Chamber, yes.
Like, all of the, like, ladder matches, everything. Cage is the only one I'm like, it's not really proving anything. It's just like, oh, like you said, I'm faster.
If I get a WWE game, I play a cage match one time, and that's just to see how to escape the cage fast as I can.
Yeah, and it's like, we hit one finisher and you're out. You're done.
And that's it. And it is over. It's just like...
Even though it's probably good storytelling, not abundance of finishers, but... Come on, give me a challenge. Game. So, yeah.
Okay.
So.
Our last topic of the night. We have another topic that was suggested by Manny, the being overwhelmed by the totality of the WWE product in his own very Manny way of saying it.
What the fuck is the Manny way of saying it, though?
That's the Manny way. That.
What are you trying to imply there, Jay? I don't know what you're saying.
That you have a certain way of talking. That through the years of knowing you, it has developed into a style. So. What exactly are you talking about here?
So, obviously, I've been away from the live talking about wrestling scene for a little while, so I haven't necessarily had to watch wrestling as I did before. Like before, it was like, oh, this is bullshit. Why am I watching? Well, I got a show to do, so might as well go ahead and do it. But now I don't have that, so I've just been watching sheerly for my own enjoyment. And in these past few weeks, like I think that the wrestling aspect of it is brilliant. It's at the height of where it's ever been. Like with the Cruiserweight Classic and guys that are doing it in the main event scene, like Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins and guys like that. I enjoy the in-ring product once they finally get to the pay-per-views. But Raw is boring as fuck, and Raw is boring as fuck for a few reasons. The one is 3 hours. They have the superstars to sustain 3 hours. They don't have the writers to sustain 3 hours. They don't have the ideas to sustain 3 hours of programming. So you give me an opening segment that's like, oh yeah, okay, this is cool. Maybe this would be a good show. And then I gotta wade through 2 hours of complete bullshit before I get to the main event. And even the main event might not be special. Like you have with the fucking steel cage match with Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. That was like, well, okay, it happened. So that's one thing. And then after 3 hours of Raw, they want to throw 2 hours of SmackDown at me. After that, they want me to, go ahead and watch these superstars on NXT. They're doing great things. Oh, hell, we got this Cruiserweight Classic for you. Let's watch that right after Raw. That's like 8 hours of programming. And then sometimes they want to throw in a 5-hour SummerSlam. And it's like, yo, okay, come on now. Like, okay, then Holy Foley. And then all the other shit that they want me to watch on the network. Watch the Stone Cold podcast. Watch Talking Smack right after that. Like, dude, come on now. I want to go back to 2 hours. 2 hours of wrestling content in my week. That's all I need. Please.
Well, Manny, you do know that you don't have to watch any of that stuff, right?
But see, if I want to be current, if I want to be an active fan, that's generally how I feel. If I'm going to be in something, I want to be in something. I'm in football right now. And I'm all the way in football. If I'm going to be in wrestling, I want to be in wrestling. I want to know what the fuck is going on Raw when they reference it on SmackDown. I want to be in the dark. And then I don't want to be someone that misses someone, misses something that big that happens. I want to be there live to react with it on Twitter and with everybody else. So just it's too much. And then all the bullshit I got to get through to get to the good shit, and then it's just annoying.
I do understand what you're saying in a sense that you want to be live and into it, because I've been thinking about not watching Monday Night Raw live anymore. And one of the things that has been keeping me holding on is because that's the big time where most wrestling fans are on Twitter and they're chatting and they're interacting and things like that. And I think that SmackDown is a better show, but it gets lower ratings than Raw. And I look at the engagements on Twitter based off of my tweets and the people who respond to me and things like that. And it's not as popping on Tuesday nights as it is on Monday. So it's kind of like you have to weigh certain things, and it sucks that you're put in that position where it's like, if I was just judging this show based off of the quality of this show on its own, I would not be watching this crap. but it's all of the other stuff and the pressure that comes into play and watching it. But shit, I'll let you know. Holy Foley, you can forget about that one. That is not necessary viewing. I saw one clip of that. Not even a clip of the show. I saw like an interview that Noel and Mick Foley did, and that shit seems so fake and just like, I know that there's a sense of scriptedness that comes into play with reality TV, but they just seem like actors that, oh, I'll throw up the ball and you hit it. Like, they are constantly setting each other up for quick catchphrases and lines and jokes and shit, so you ain't gotta watch that one. But when it comes to everything else, I don't know. Like, I get what you're saying, but I don't want it to be that way, but I understand the pressure that comes into play.
And like, even if you toss all the other shit aside, let's just focus on Raw for a second. If Raw was a solid 3 hours of programming where like I could get invested and interested in the storytelling and everything that they got going on, then I'd be okay. But you got Braun Strowman squash matches you got to get through. You got Nia Jax squash matches you got to get through. You got all the other bullshit combinations, random ass tag matches and shit like that. That's like, I'm not here for that. And that's one of the things I like about the Attitude Era. Like, they had little stuff like that, but it was focused. It was focused, and not just the Attitude Era. I shouldn't just say that, but like Ruthless Aggression. Before they went over to 3 hours, it was a lot more focused when they had 2 hours, and you could watch the opening segment and deal with a little bit of bullshit matches and deal with a little bit of the undercard booking that's going on, and then get to the main event a lot quicker. And it's like, it felt like WWE respected my time at that time. Now it just feels like, okay, we're going to throw all this shit at you. You got to consume. You got all these options available for you, and it's like, yo, man, I got other shit to do, man. I want to play Destiny.
Then what
Destiny
do you do
DLC
about that?
came out yesterday, and I'm focused on Destiny, goddammit, and Monday Night Football and Thursday Night Football and shit like that. Come on, man. Like, you got too much. You got too much going on for me, WWE.
Then what do you do?
What do I do?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a scenario. What do you do?
I think you should pick one show.
Yeah, I mean, I could pick one show, but then
Just
I'm
pick
missing out on
SmackDown.
Kevin Owens. Then I'm missing out on what Seth Rollins is doing.
That is the big thing, because my perspective is Raw has the potential to be really damn good. Like, from everybody on that roster, Jericho, Owens, Zayn, they have the potential. But you know what? The writers look at that 3 hours, and they don't look at it as like, oh, we're going to make a little money from commercials or whatever. They look at it like, oh, well, that gives us time to just, we can just do whatever and throw this thing out. We don't have to really fill the time, that 3 hours, with content. It's so routine. Week after week, you see a Braun Strowman squash match. You see it, like you said. And I was enjoying those for the most part until they said, oh, let's give Braun Strowman a real opponent. I'm like, why? Why are you ruining something that was so good? And then, like, they're doing so much of the same thing where you have to get that corporate bureaucracy going on between Mick and them. Like, it's the same thing every week, just new components spliced in here and there. But I'm a Raw guy because I love that roster, and they don't have a Dolph Ziggler or Mojo Rawley on that roster, so I'm a more of a Raw guy. Because I don't have a deep hatred for maybe Charlotte, but I can get over that. But Mojo Rawley and Dolph Ziggler I cannot get over. But you know what? SmackDown looks at 2 hours and they don't say it's like, oh my god, we only have 2 hours to do everything. Like, they look at it as like, we have 2 hours to do some really special things, and we have to be creative and use our minds to make everything fit. And they affect like Raw's like, we have 3 hours, we can just we can waste time. We'll get the Roman Reigns in the cage.
I guess the way you sum it up, SmackDown looks at their time as an opportunity, and Raw looks at their time as a burden.
Yeah, they look at it as a way to be lazy. They don't have to be like, well, we have 3 hours, so we can just stick a Braun Strowman right here. We don't have to really think.
Just pick one show because I got superstars. I got a lot of superstars on Raw that I really like, but I really like the SmackDown format and AJ Styles and stuff like that. So if I want to be like a wrestling fan and be up on the guys that I like, then I gotta wait through 5 hours of programming content. And I know people in the chat, I know it's on Hulu, I know I could DVR it, but I like to be there live and interact with you guys on Twitter. That's just how I approach it.
Something's got to give.
Yeah, something does got to give. It might be all wrestling.
Don't be like that. Well, I can't really say anything. My perspective is I never liked the Attitude Era. I always thought it was sleazy, and I hated Stone Cold Steve Austin's character.
You weren't there.
I don't care. I can look back on it and I see Stone Cold Steve Austin as an asshole, and I don't like that kind of character. And I look at the Ruthless Aggression. That was my era, and I was like, oh my god, this is great.
Punk fan?
I love. Punk wasn't here. He's not right here right now. Okay. I look back. I like the Golden Era because it was very wholesome and really fun, and that's what wrestling was, kind of glitzy and glammy and very cocaine oriented, and I really liked it. And this era is the best it's ever been roster-wise. Like, you cannot get better talent than you have right now. As you name any era, this is the best we got. And yet, the
what does
writing
that mean,
is...
though, if it's not being used effectively?
Exactly, but the writing does not back them up. Like, we could say, oh my gosh, Kevin Owens is great, but at the same time, we're bored of Kevin Owens right now because he's not given anything to latch onto and show what he can do. Like, I can show be great in the ring, but at the end of the day, what's that really mean? If I'm still stuck in a feud, we're like, oh, well, Triple H is just going to win for me. I guess I'm not that important. This title's okay, I guess. Because the big thing with Raw, Kevin Owens had nothing to do on Raw. He was like, yeah, Jericho did his work for him. Stephanie did his work for him. He just showed up for a match and said, oh, I should be in that cage match. Where was him saying, this title will mean something to me? I'm going to beat Seth Rollins' ass on Sunday. I don't need... Like, they don't put investment into any of the characters when they have the time to do so. Like, Seth Rollins should be way more developed. Reigns hasn't said shit the past month. He's came out and said maybe... He's starting to say something wrong when Stephanie came out. Like,
I think that's part of the gimmick.
What?
Reigns not saying anything on the mic. I think
that's fine, but he still has to have something. Like, you have the time to give him character, and yet you're like... give me something. If you have the 3 hours, use your 3 hours. I want to be there for 3 hours. Just give me a reason to.
Well, they can use the 3 hours for whatever the hell they want to next week. All I know is that I won't be watching.
Really?
And, yeah, I made the decision. On Monday, I said that was going to be the determining factor. The Cruiserweight division and how that played into Monday Night Raw and the status of the show overall, if I'm going to continue watching Raw or not. And wasn't hot. So, we have the debate next week, and I'll be watching that, and I'll give the 90-minute version of Raw on Hulu a look, and that's where I'm sticking at for the time being. I'll be checking out the Hulu version of Raw, and if I still don't get anything from that one, then we'll see where it goes from there.
This is huge, Jay. You're underplaying this. You're giving up on Raw a little bit. Monday Night Raw, dude. Like, that was when we were growing up. That was the show. It's always been the show.
It ain't anymore.
Even back when people like Jeff Hardy and CM Punk were doing the thing on SmackDown, SmackDown was really great. People were still like, well, we have Cena and Orton on Raw, and it's like, now we're at the point where you're like, I don't want to watch Raw. That's amazing to me. For being as big of a wrestling fan as you are, that's pretty huge, and that's really a reflection of what WWE's doing right now, and it's a problem.
Yeah, because I feel every single thing that Manny is saying, I completely understand it. In my case, though, shit, I'm doing something about it. I got way too much shit going on to be wasting 3 hours every Monday when I could be doing so much more. So, yeah, you don't respect my time, I'm snatching it back. And that's where we're going to end this show. Thank you guys for tuning in to PWF Empire Live. I'll be back on Friday with the PWF Empire podcast. Make sure you guys tune into that. Until then, peace out.